Namaskar. There are a number of students who are requesting me regarding the topic of history of Indian Constitution, uh, as that is a part and parcel of their studies. And for that purpose, I have here started with the portion of history of Indian Constitution. I have divided this chapter into two parts and thereafter into five subparts. So we will today see the part first and its subparts. So I'm Dr. Pankaj Palekar. I have made this topic of history of Indian Constitution in a brief manner for the students who are studying Indian Constitution or history of Indian Constitution as far. Now we'll see one by one the things which are present in history of Indian Constitution. Here I am going to deal with the part first under which we are going to study three different sub part, that is first is concerned with 1600 to 1765. Secondly, we'll see 1765 to 1858. Thirdly, we will look after into 1858 to 1990. So, dear friends, first of all, we will see the part first, that is 1600 to 1765. This period is called as entry of Britishers. So, when Britishers has entered into India, for that period, we are calling it as an entry of Britishers in India. Now, when the Britishers have came over here in India, they came as a trader and they have started to establish their own business in Indian territory. Now, during the time they have established some commercial contracts, they have formed one company. The company secured its charter with the help of Queen Elizabeth, and this charter was settled with its constitution, powers, and privileges during the era of 1600. Now, not only this, the charter also vested the management in the hands of governor with 24 members of East India Company. Now, the company has granted monopoly of trade in East. They have been granted the power to keep armed forces for its security or protection. So, as we can know that if there are number of companies which are going to be get established to give the security, they are keeping armed forces for the purpose of security. In the same way, here also the company which has been granted monopoly, uh, there might be certain security which is required to them, and that is why here company has been granted the power to keep armed forces for its security. Here the company has started several trading centers in different parts of India as the growth of the company is going on. And the first of it has been established in 1612 in Surat with the permission of Emperor Jahangir. So here the first establishment has been established in the Surat during the period of 1612. Then the another setup has been established in Muslipatnam, Madras in 1639, and the third one which has been seen at Mahanadi Delta at Hariharpur in 1619. So 1690 is such a phase where from where the number of establishments are going to be get increased. Now, as far as this part of the study, we can see that during the same period of time, the factories at Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta become the chief presidency towns of the company. And by the by, they have expanded their business in such a way. Now, to run every company, it must have or consist of certain laws, and such laws has to be get prepared. For that, legislative power is required, and this act is consisting of legislative powers. So here we will watch certain legislative power which has been given to the company. In 1601, the charter has granted the governor and the company to make rules, make ordain and constitute such and so many reasonable laws, constitution orders, and ordinances for the good governance of the company. This legislative power which has been given to the governor and the company, this was treated to be a start, and this step was a historical step. So the germs out of which the Anglo-Indian codes were ultimately developed, and by the way, the new laws are to be get developed along with. So the Charter of 1609 came, then the Charter Act of 1661 came, and all of these were having certain powers. But the Charter of 1693 has not mentioned any such power, as they were traders, because traders cannot be able to make the laws. They are able to trade only. They may have the knowledge of trading, but they may not have the power or knowledge of legislation, how to create the legislation. And that is why the legislative power, which has been mentioned under the Charter Act of 1693, has not mentioning that they are eligible to make the laws or legislate the law. And thereafter, after few years, the Charter of 1726 has came into existence. So we will look after into the provisions of the Charter of 1726. When this Charter Act of 1726 has been established, this was a significant charter. The legislative power was at that time vested in the Court of Directors in England. As they were not having any power in India, it was considered that desirable to vest law making power. That is, desirable to vest lawmaking power in those who were acquainted with the Indian conditions. As the court of directors are in England, they are not knowing the situation, what situation is present in India. They are not well acquainted with the Indian conditions as well, and that is why here the power has been vested for lawmaking in those who were acquainted with the Indian conditions. And that is why here the charter authorized the governor and the council of the presidencies to make, to constitute, and to ordain bylaws, rules, and ordinances for the good governance of the company, and to impose punishment for the contravention. So if any contravention is there in connection with the law which has been present at that time, or the law which has been created, or the bylaws or rules or regulations which has been created, if someone contravenes the laws or rules or regulations, the Act of 1726 was having the part of imposition of punishment. Now, till the half of the 18th century, Britishers had not become the ruling power in India. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal emperor, India becomes the battleground of a rival. The East India Company taken full advantage of this chaotic situation and got the victory of the company in the Battle of Plassey in 1757 against Sirajuddaulah Khan, who was called as Nawab of Bengal, and they had laid down the foundation of British Empire in India. So in this way, here, due to the Charter Act of 1726, we have been able to get start of certain laws which have been prepared for the purpose of the rule of British in India. So here we are finishing the first phase of our topic, that is history of Indian Constitution.